good afternoon. This is Avinindra Som and you're listening to the news in detail on Gold FM.
The news headlines on Gold FM.
In your news headlines, Russia pledges rapid petroleum delivery. Failing A levels does not mean that the future is bleak. Gazette issued on emergency importation of rice varieties. 147 foreign nationals arrested in Chilau. Be serious, don't speak every day. Macron criticizes Trump. Attorney General Pam Bondi and US Army Chief of Staff fired.
The top story on Gold FM.
A Gazette notification was issued allowing the importation of GR11 rice, including varieties such as Ponni Samba and Kiri Opal Ponni, as a temporary measure to ease the current shortage of Samba and Kiri Samba rice in the country. The directive was authorized by President Anurakumara Dissanayake. According to the notification, licensed importers are permitted to bring in these rice varieties from the 2nd to the 30th of April. All the imported stocks must be cleared from customs on or before the 31st of May. Each import is limited to a maximum import quantity of 1,040 metric tons.
This is the local news on Gold FM.
Russian Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs Andrei Rudenko promised the delivery of petroleum products to Sri Lanka will be fast-tracked following high-level discussions. During a meeting with Foreign Affairs Minister Vijay Herath at the ministry yesterday, Rudenko pledged to direct Russian investors towards local opportunities and increase tourist arrivals. Both nations reached an agreement to provide compensation to the families of Sri Lankan security personnel who died while in Russia too. Colombo and Moscow concluded the 11th round of bilateral political consultations with a shared goal to strengthen energy and trade cooperation. Discussions focused on securing future supplies of petroleum, coal and fertilizer while establishing new benchmarks for bilateral trade. Minister of Transport and Highways Bimal Ratnayake, who is currently participating in the International Transport and Logistics Forum in St. Petersburg, Russia, revealed that there are plans for investments of up to $10 billion towards the transport sector in the next 3 years.
We are ready to work with this Eurasian framework. I think we can start from this aviation and maritime sector, and we will invest on behalf of Sri Lankan government $8 to $10 billion within next 3 years for transport infrastructure. We will start 2 new ports, and we are going to invite the private companies of international companies to come and operate in one of our main airport. So we are open to work with the friendly nations who respect sovereignty, who recognize the reputation of other countries.
Now moving on in more local news, it is alarming that 10% of the students who wrote the advanced level examination last year failed all subjects. However, that does not mean their future is dark. In fact, there are options that can make them better prepared for the journey ahead. That's according to Professor Krishanta Pathiraja, a member of the Governing Council at the National Apprentice and Industrial Training Authority. Speaking to us, Professor Pathiraja said that students pursuing vocational training can help them to be a part of skilled workforces, not only in the country, but the world.
Now already they have failed. Now we have to think about how we come out of this situation. Now, a lot of vocational development and vocational training authorities available in Sri Lanka. NITA, VTA, German Tech, technical colleges, Maritime College. Why parents put them into this vocational education system? If we put into the vocational education system, they will become a professional from sectors like plumbing, painting, automobile industry and waterproofing technology, and they will become very successful professionals, and they will 100% contribute to the Sri Lankan economy.
At the same time, he also had a message to parents of these students.
Everyone can't become a professor, chartered engineer. Now we have to think about other factors like professional painting, professional plumbing, professional welding. We have to think about. Now time has come to think about these sectors. Now these sectors are highly earned sectors. Sometimes some electrician will be charged per hour more than 3,000, 4,000. Sometimes some plumbers will be charged 4,000, 5,000. Therefore, we have to think about that sector also. Everyone can't become a professional computer engineer, but he can become a computer technician. That's an important factor. Now in Sri Lanka, there's a huge lack of plumbers, huge lack of painters, huge lack of electricians, welders. With the vocational training authorities like NITA, VTA, German Tech, we have to make the professional welders, painters and plumbers and put them into the national economy.
He also explained on how to obtain information about these courses.
Easiest method is District Secretariat Office, DS office. Some particular officers are there. They have to go to the DS office and they can get the detail. Now, most of the students are very familiar with the social media and the other websites, internet. They can easily go to the internet and they can easily find out if they interest to go to NITA, where's the nearest location for the NITA center. They can go to that center, the NITA center, VTA centers. There are a lot of instructors are there. They are professionally qualified instructors. They will teach you, they will guide you to which sector you want to come and which sector you can become a successful. Then they have to select that path and they can become a good professional level. And also now VTA, NITA and those institutes also working with the private institutes. That private institutes who they are very related to the some industry related activities like plumbing, welding and these kind of sectors. Now the particular student who has completed their NITA NVQ certificate level, diploma level or advanced diploma level, these private institutes or the private companies quickly they will recruit into their existing positions. Then student will get in a job, experience and also knowledge and the practical knowledge. Both they will get.
In more local news, Colombo Crimes Division officers arrested 147 foreign nationals during a targeted operation at a hotel in the Ambarakadavila and Iranavila areas of Chilau. Those taken into custody include Chinese, Malaysian and Vietnamese citizens suspected of involvement in large-scale online financial scams. Police reports confirm 2 Chinese nationals sustained injuries while attempting to flee the scene and are currently receiving treatment at the Chilau District General Hospital. Investigators seized a significant cache of equipment during the raid, including 143 laptops, 120 desktop units and 370 mobile phones. Two suspects remain in custody under detention orders following the recovery of remains belonging to a witness murdered and buried a year and a half ago. Investigations by the Valana Central Anti-Corruption Unit revealed that Sandun Udara Alvis, a 31-year-old three-wheeler driver, died from providing evidence regarding a robbery at the home of notorious drug trafficker Kudus Salidu. Police reports indicate the victim was abducted in Panadura and killed by 4 associates of alleged organized criminal Panadura Nilanga before being buried at the Thibbatugoda Cemetery in Horana. Officers secured the arrests after a lengthy investigation into the mysterious disappearances of the state witness. Now, the National Water Supply and Drainage Board introduced a rotational supply system across the Colombo district to manage dwindling resources in the Kaltuava and Labugama reservoirs. Chairman Chandra Bandar expects a reduction in the current 24-hour disruptions to between 12 and 18 hours for residents in Padukka, Homagama, Palanvatta and Pannipitia. Now, despite these measures, the board confirmed a total suspension of all water cuts from the 11th to the 14th of April to accommodate upcoming festival celebrations. While Padukka residents face a day-long disruption ending tonight, a similar cycle begins in Homagama this evening, which schedules repeating throughout the week to ensure intermittent supply during the severe drought.
Now for some news in brief.
A 30-year-old Chinese national was arrested at Bandar Naik International Airport for attempting to smuggle 48.6 kilograms of the medicinal plant Salacia reticulata worth 300,000 rupees out of Sri Lanka.
The business news on Gold FM.
Global oil prices surged today, led by a sharp rise in the international benchmark. Brent crude rose by 7.78% over the last 8 hours to reach $109 per barrel. Meanwhile, West Texas Intermediate climbed 11.41% to settle at $111.05 per barrel. Microsoft confirmed plans to invest 1.6 trillion yen in Japan between 2026 and 2029 to bolster artificial intelligence capabilities and enhance national cybersecurity. The initiative, announced by Vice Chair and President Brad Smith during a visit to Tokyo, aims to expand Japan-based AI computing capacity through partnerships with domestic firms such as SoftBank and Sakura Internet. This localized infrastructure allows government agencies and private companies to process sensitive data within national borders using Microsoft Azure services. The investment package also included a commitment to train 1 million engineers and developers by 2030 to address a projected labor shortfall in the technology sector.
International news on Gold FM.
War in the Middle East intensifies as multiple drone strikes Kuwait's Mina Al Ahmadi refinery. The state-owned Kuwait Petroleum Corporation reported fires in several operational units at one of the region's largest facilities. KPC officials state no injuries occurred, and air quality monitoring shows no negative impact on the local environment so far. This marks the third time Iranian drones targeted Kuwaiti refineries during this 5-week conflict. Over in Israel, the defense forces reported a wave of Iranian missiles launched towards the country overnight. While defensive systems intercepted many threats, shrapnel damaged a Tel Aviv train station. Across the Atlantic, President Trump warns of a significant escalation. In a social media post, he praises the power of the US military and declares that strikes will soon target Iranian bridges and electric power plants. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi responded by stating that attacks on civilian structures will not force a surrender. The rhetoric from Washington draws sharp criticism from Paris, where French President Emmanuel Macron, speaking from South Korea, describes the conflict as, quote, not a show, and urges a more serious, consistent approach. He suggested that constant public commentary from Trump administration hinders efforts to quieten the situation. The Artemis 2 mission reached a major milestone as the Orion spacecraft broke Earth's orbit. A successful translunar injection burn provides the speed necessary to send the 4-person crew towards the moon. This marks the first time humans have traveled this far from Earth since 1970. Commander Race Weissman and his team report that the spacecraft performs well.
Entertainment news on Gold FM.
Actor Jamie Bell is set to take the lead in a new television chapter of the Peaky Blinders saga set against the backdrop of the 1950s Birmingham. Known for his performances in Rocketman and All of Us Strangers, Bell portrays Duke Shelby, the older son of Tommy Shelby, in 2 upcoming series. The narrative unfolds a decade after the events of the film Peaky Blinders, The Mortal Man, exploring the city's post-World War II evolution through an older and more dangerous Duke.
Sports news on Gold FM.
The New Zealand A cricket team arrived in the country today to begin a multi-format series against the Sri Lanka A side. The tour schedule includes 3 one-day fixtures and 2 unofficial test matches. Organisers confirmed the opening one-day international takes place this coming Sunday at the Galle International Stadium. Following the series opener in Galle, all remaining matches in the tournament shift to the Suryavava International Cricket Stadium. In the meantime, Sri Lanka Cricket announced the appointment of 2 new coaches yesterday. Ryan van Niekerk takes the role of national bowling coach. Joining him is Jordan Gregory, who assumes the position of national fielding and spin bowling coach. And that's all the news for now. Stay tuned to Gold FM for the latest updates. This is Apin Rusoma for Gold FM News.